This is Dr. Jeffrey Musayef Masson speaking from Tamarama, New South Wales, Australia, in May 2022. And this is my foreword to Lee Hall's On Their Own Terms, Animal Liberation for the 21st Century, abridged and adapted for this narration. As we witness the unfolding of multiple environmental crises, Lee Hall believes we're at the verge of a cultural shift. I agree. Whether people are changing for their health or the health of the planet, or, as I always hope, because they've experienced a kind of awakening of the spirit with regard to animals, it almost does not matter. The world is moving in our direction. So I'd like to encourage the readers who hope we're on the verge of the paradigm shift described in this book. And how interesting to conceive of the shift in its fullness, much more than a change in diet. If you think advocating for nature and the animals who populate it just isn't what vegans do, allow this book to challenge such limitations. Lee challenges us to rethink liberation in a positive way by shifting the focus to habitat, that is, other beings' homes. Our natural surroundings offer the human mind so much knowledge about other beings' lives. If only we'd refrain from controlling those beings, from managing data and details about them in a dispassionate way. If only we decide to respect those who want to know and to love what we learn about them. Granted, this is a paradoxical quest, for attempting to know animals has long meant getting in their way, taking them apart, or putting them on display. Sometimes what we learn is nothing but a direct response to our interference in their lives. In my own work, Altruistic Armadillos, Zen-like Zebras, I consider the warning calls of prairie dogs. They include one to announce that a human is approaching, yet another when a human approaches with a gun. Finding out about others without desiring to use or have them, intimidate or subordinate them, may be the hardest thing for all humans to do. Let us go to the root of the trouble. I believe the single most dangerous idea of the human community is pseudo-speciation, the belief that we are superior. This leads to depersonalization of other cultural groups within humanity, as it mimics our notion of dominion over all non-human life on the planet. If sustained any longer, it will surely undo us and much of the living world. How long can we cling to our illusory feeling of control that has already fashioned hominids into the most destructive presence the earth has known? Yet there is hope. We do have the mental power to decide on the side of respect rather than exploitation. The point is to strive. The path ahead might not always look the same to you, to Lee, or to me as we contemplate this shared journey. Lee's in-depth commentary on pet keeping is illuminating. Yes, even if we change the wording to companion animal, the keeping part remains. For many people, even for animal advocates, it is painful to face domestication itself as a form of exploitation. I would go even further. I would claim that humanity's original sin lies in the domestication of animals. For if we think about it deeply, we realize that the only reason we domesticated animals was to exploit them. We want their children, their skins, their fur, their eggs, their milk, their flesh, and yes, also their companionship. But we would not want a companion who is compelled to be our friend. We like to think that dogs agreed to a pact. Give me this and I will give you that. But Lee reminds us of the millions of dogs every year who are neglected or abandoned or beaten or murdered, probably almost as many as are loved and cherished and treated as members of our family. Had these dogs known what was in store for them, would they have chosen to throw in their lot with us? Certainly not. The same applies to cats. As for birds kept in cages, there's no discussions to be had. It is simply wrong. Caged birds live as diminished prisoners in an alien world. The same can be said for fish. We are, of course, horrified when we found out that a young person has been locked in some part of a house and never schooled in the knowledge of human culture, trapped for years until the perpetrator is found out. Humans, to be psychologically stable, need contact with a social network made up of other humans. We do not seem to feel that animals, in order to be psychologically stable, need that sort of connection to their own kind. We believe they find the greatest joy with us. Whether this is real or an illusion is a discussion whose time has now come. And there's much more to this book, as you'll find. Our journey, as we work to understand the philosophy and psychology of animal ethics, will be filled with the most rugged mental terrain. Let's look after each other as we go. Thank you.